I mean, it's really, everybody knows, oh my God, Shinji's whining again. Yeah, but he still gets in the robot people. So he still fights. And that's when people think, oh, he's such a wimp and a whiner and blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, but see, courage is feel the fear and do it anyway. So he's a hero. And people don't get that. I'm like, ha-ha, suck on that.
Kawaii-Fi!
Konnichiwa, it's Kyle here, and we've got another Neon Genesis Evangelion interview for you this Kawaii Friday. Now, the final Evangelion film, Evangelion 3.0 plus 1.0 Thrice Upon a Time, has been out on Amazon Prime for quite a while now. We've had it for about a month and a bit, so it's given us plenty of time to digest what's happened in the finale. If you're a die-hard fan, you'll know that Spike Spencer is pretty well known as the voice of Shinji Ikari, starting back with the original ADV dub in the 90s and reprising the role in both dubs of the rebuild of Evangelion films. And with a new Blu-ray collection featuring the original ADV dub also on the way, I think it was a good time to have a chat with Spike about a truly iconic role. And talking about iconic, we do need to let you know about this episode's sponsor, Shumi Shop. From anime figurines and manga to pop vinyls and plushies, Shumi have got your pop culture needs covered from east to west, and they're about to open their brand new store here in Perth. Look out for the discount code in this video to save 10% off your next order. We'll talk more about Shumi Shop later. If you are new to the channel, consider hitting that subscribe button. We've got plenty more videos in the works, including more interviews and a few bits of fun stuff as well. Alright, so how does the long-serving voice of Shinji feel about that Evangelion finale? Let's find out. Spike, thank you so much for joining us on Kawaii-Fi.
My pleasure to be here.
So, Evangelion stories finally come to an end. Plenty of people are waiting on the ending, but how are you feeling about it all being over?
I love it. I mean, then again, is it? That's the thing. I was like, yeah, I know Anno said he's not going to, there's no need to revisit these characters ever again, but not saying he wouldn't.
Yeah, like kind of subtly hinting in a few interviews that, oh, maybe I might talk about that 12-year gap that we had. Oh, who knows?
There's lots that could be done, so who knows what's going to happen in the future. As long as I can still do the voice and they want me to, I'm in.
I mean, very few voice actors do get the chance to revisit a role as often as you have with Evangelion. Has anything changed in your approach to how you voice Shinji over the years?
You know, interestingly enough, when we did the rebuild, it was different. We used to say we aged him a little bit, gave him a little more oomph. We used to joke at Funimation that one ball dropped. So we gave him a little extra there, and then there was from the rebuild 3 to rebuild 4, I was like, well, what's going on? All those years. So when it was just a different animal, because when we went to do 4 for Amazon, we did 4 first. Then we went back and redid all the other ones, 1 through 3. So we had that Shinji all the way through, which was pretty much modeled on the rebuild. As far as I'm concerned, from my end, I kept it that way. And I love the ending. I'm not going to give it away, but if you saw 4 and the end, I'm like, yes, my boy Shinji. So yeah, I was very happy with that. Doing dating coaching, I'm like, yeah, you got the cute one, didn't you?
I was just saying, we'll definitely be touching on that a bit later. Now, we have had several endings to the Evangelion story now, and as a character, Shinji's had to go through a lot in each of those incarnations. So what was it like to voice a character who's regularly going through so much emotional turmoil, a lot of suggestions that he's suffering from mental health issues, depression, self-worth issues, and then having to express that as someone who might, well, depending on your life experience, might not have experienced those things initially as early in life when you first started?
Well, I mean, when you say people going through all these issues, who isn't? I mean, everyone is going through issues all the time, every day. This is why when I coach people, it's like we've got to really get in touch with what you're really going through and what's actually a story from outside. That's a lot of coaching stuff to get into. But the bottom line is, for Shinji, is like I was the opposite of Shinji. I'm pretty much, here's Shinji, here's me. We're not alike in any way, but I'm an actor. And when I first got the role, it was an acting role, and so I really worked hard on it. And I did tap into certain things. I had my own daddy issues, but nothing like his. But I had my own, so I had to tap in, magnify. It's an acting. It's what actors do. That's our technique. And so throughout the whole series, which by the way took 2 years, a lot of people don't understand that. The original series took 2 years because this is everybody strap in. Back in the day, we used to have VHS tapes. And we used to have to mail those tapes and script notes and everything to Japan and wait for that to come back in the mail and then redo it and send it back. So this took 2 years for the initial thing. So, we did a lot of other jobs in between, and we just really got to know the characters. So now it's gotten, fast forward now, we can knock it out in a weekend. You can knock a whole movie in a weekend, which we did. And for me, getting back into that character with so many different nuances, they're not that varied, though. I mean, it's really, everybody knows, oh my God, Shinji's whining again. Yeah, but he still gets in the robot, people. So he still fights. And that's when people think, oh, he's such a wimp and a whiner and blah, blah, blah. He's like, yeah, but see, courage is feel the fear and do it anyway. So he's a hero. And people don't get that. I'm like, aha, suck on that. So it really is, once you've done a character for so long, it just takes a couple of minutes to get, where am I again? Let's find that voice again. Let me get into the moment. Okay, boom, let's go. And you got it. It's like an old coat to put back on.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't take me that much to get into it anymore.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's
Did that answer
always
any of your questions?
No. So how did you find redubbing the films with Amazon? When I talked with Tiffany, she mentioned there was some struggles due to the translation, like not necessarily saying that the translation was bad, but there was a lot more of a focus on trying to keep it as close to the original Japanese translation without too much variation compared to when you did the dub with Funimation.
Well, I mean, there are certain lines that were fought for in the original. Matt Greenfield and Amanda Winley, they fought to get certain lines in that are now iconic. And I don't know if they kept, I haven't watched 1, 2, 3, or 4 on Amazon. Just so you guys know, I don't watch my own stuff. I would just be picking it apart going, chalkboard, So the line, I mustn't run away. I'm not sure if they changed that to I won't run away. You recorded both ways. I don't know which one made it in. So stuff like that. And I told them that. I was like, this is not the right line. I said, you're going to want me to say I mustn't run away. Just get it. If they want to go with I won't run away, that's fine. But we're going to say I mustn't run away. Yeah. I made sure we recorded that. So they do have that if they want. Because I'm like going, people have been asking me to write that down and say that for 25 years. I'm thinking they're gonna notice that if it's not there. So I don't know if it was or not. So somebody can probably let us know. But as far as other things go, I don't really know that much. There's only a few little things here. I'm like going, that doesn't sound right to me. So we'll say it and they'll do it the other way, because they'll say, okay, we want you to do it this way, but we're open to this. I said, well, I'm going to give you both ways, and then my job is to make the director happy.
Absolutely. Now, on the note of obviously Amanda Winley, it must have been great to have her back as Ray again. Obviously, no offense to Brina, of course, during the Funimation dubs. But as I understand it, you and Amanda have been quite good friends ever since she suggested you audition for ADV.
Oh, yeah. She's family. She's my sister from another mister. Yeah, it's interesting because, I'm here in Australia, and I've been living here since Supernova Melbourne of 2020 because of COVID and everything. We decided to stay here for a little while. We said, we'll be here a few months. 2 years later, we have an apartment and a new baby and all kinds of stuff. So it's a pretty wild thing. But my point is, it was like the first time we've all gotten together was in Melbourne. It was Tiffany and Amanda and myself. And so we just had a blast, and then the world fell apart, and now we're here. But we had a great time. We got to hang out in Australia, which was lovely. Yeah, so I've known her for a very, very long time, and it was great to have her back. I think because the Netflix situation happened, and then it's like, well, that's really good that happened that way, because that set the stage for this, which is way better. And went, really big. Apparently, I don't know. I think people liked it, and yeah, so it was lovely to have her. I mean, and I know Brina is absolutely phenomenal, amazing human being, and but the way it was all set up, I was really glad to have the old gang back together.
Hey you, yes you, watching this video right now.
Who are you? How did you get in my house?
Do you love anime and pop culture merchandising?
Yes!
Then you've probably heard about Shumi Shop, Perth's awesome anime and pop culture store. Come with me.
Ah! How did we get here?
If you're looking for anime figurines, pop vinyls, model kits, plushies, or wearables, Shumi have you covered.
Stop throwing things at me!
No.
Ah!
They even stock some specialty items like anime vinyl and run the awesome Ichiban Kuji Japanese lottery system too. And with a new store opening this November, there'll be even more awesome products to choose from.
Stop doing that!
Take Aaron here. Before Shumi shopped, he had a normal arm.
What? Oh, my arm!
Now he can take on Dr. Wily with no worries.
It's not even real!
And for the next 30 days, if you use the code SAVEAARON at checkout, you can save 10% on your order. So head to shumishop.com.au today and get all your favorite merch at great prices. You'll be helping to support a local retailer too. Because if you don't, Aaron will lose his other arm.
Wait, what? Ah! I've got a few little odd voice acting stories some of our Patreons have sent through. I've heard this pop up a few times on internet forums, on people commenting on voice acting in general, saying at some point during your voice acting career as Shinji, you ended up coughing up blood due to the strain on your voice. Is that just a situation that, no?
No, never did.
Never did. No, that's fantastic to know.
No,
because obviously as we get older, our voices change and adapt, and it's been almost 20 odd years now that you've been voicing Shinji, who's meant to be 14. So do you find it a bit more difficult to get into that sort of voice as you've aged?
Not really. Oddly enough, it's just the way my voice is. I've been voicing teen kids and psychopaths for a long time, and it's still there. As long as it's still there, I can get up there and it works. I did. Now I was really sick when we did Rebuild number 3 with Funimation. So, and there was all these, I just said this on another podcast, they were all saying, oh my God, there was all this big deal and they wanted to go and redo everything and I was like, no, they didn't. I went in to do a couple of pickups and it was literally like a few lines and that was it. I thought, all right, yeah, they really didn't like what I did and it sounded funky and they want to redo the whole thing. I was like, yes, thank you, let's do that. And they're like, no, I'm listening to my voice. I'm going, you gonna keep that? Really? All right, as long as you're happy with it, baby, I'll change this word over here. But you heard that, right? Am I the only one here that hears that? No. Come on now. But maybe I was overreacting to my own voice. I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's the thing, isn't it? We're always our own harshest critics, especially when it comes to our own voices. On that note, have you had any sort of interesting or unusual experiences in the voiceover booth over the years?
Seriously?
Yeah.
Dude, come on now. I wrote a book called What Happens at the Con Stays at the Con. Yeah. But you can buy it on Amazon now. God, in the booth, the booth is pretty simple. But I do have a couple of stories that I do remember. I think it was Christine Otten. She was doing something, and she was running. So when we're running in anime, we're basically hyperventilating, for you. And so apparently she hyperventilated, passed out, fell, hit the little table that was there, and there was a glass pitcher of water that flew across, hit the window, exploded, and she was down and passed out in front of the door. So they had to come in and open the door and go, Christina, to get her. That was a story that was told to me a long time ago. In my book, there's a story called Message in a Bottle. That was told to me by, who told me? I think Kyle told me about that, but it was about somebody else. So I don't know who did that. It was about a fart in a bottle thing. It's a very funny story. You got to buy the book.
Got to buy the book.
So, yeah, I mean, if you guys have seen me at a convention, when I did What Happens at the Con Stays at the Con live, I may have read that story, but I redid the whole book and made it volume 2, added a few more stories, and put at the end where these stories came from and why, and some of the insights of it. So yeah, so that's available on Amazon, and
We'll
a
have
lot
the
of
so for those of you watching, make sure you check out in the description. You can find that link for Spike's book, one of many books actually. You've got quite a run on them. But before we get stuck into that as well, I want to mention you've been doing the convention circuit for pretty much since day dot, by the sounds of it, since you were able to get on the circuit. Why are you so passionate about it?
Well, actually, no. I did. Here's the weird thing. I did a con, actually, ASEN in Chicago, and it was ASEN 1, and that was the first con I had ever done. This was in the late 90s, early 2000s, something like that. And I didn't know anything about conventions. I was like, what is, I had no idea, no clue. And that's where I met a bunch of fun people and made lifelong friends. But I was like, well, that was kind of cool. And then never did it again. And when in 2005 I moved from Houston out to Los Angeles, big story. It's all in my dating cookbook. It's not a dating cookbook, really. It's a food game, a man's ultimate recipe for dating success. My whole story is in that book about why I got on that road to relationship coaching, etc. Because I had a divorce, bankruptcy, moved from LA, from Houston to LA, started over completely. And so one of the things that I did, I was like, I don't know, what do I want to do with my life? I'm sitting there with Amanda, and I was talking to her. I was like, God, I just want to have fun. I just want to travel. I want to eat good food. I want to see places and just live for a bit. And she goes, "Oh, well, why don't you do conventions?" I'm like, "Huh?" She's like, "You're famous, right?" I'm like, "No, I had no idea. I'm what now?" She's like, "Yeah, you can go to conventions." So I started going to conventions. I was a con whore, man. I was like, I'm everywhere, because I could travel. I love to travel. I've always loved to travel. And so I started doing that, and then I was just kind of out there being stupid for a while, drinking too much and having a good time, and then I got serious about it. I was like, okay, let's see what we can do, see if we can like actually help people, have fun, and bring enlightenment and stuff, because I had dealt with my own junk, and I was like, all right, let's get real. And then I met my wife, and she comes to cons with me. And so we've turned it into the whole coaching aspect. So now it's not just let's talk about sex and dating and blah blah blah. Let's talk about relationships, communication, and getting stronger. Let's talk about funny stories at conventions. Of course, that's great. Let's talk about cooking and all kinds of fun stuff at conventions. Now it's more adult, more grown up, and I found that I had things that I could teach people, and I love to travel. I can still travel, get to see great places, have a wonderful time, go to Australia, stay there. Um, and now, like next month, I'm just south of Brisbane, but I'll be in Brisbane next month, and then Adelaide in December, apparently, if things open up again. Um, but it's yeah, one of the biggest things, my biggest joys in life is travel and food. So yeah.
I was going to say, because obviously you're quite big on your food. I mean, I've seen your Twitter every now and then. It's just like, I'm cooking this, or, when you were back in the States, you're like, oh, look, I've eaten my body weight in Texas barbecue. How did you end up combining the idea of both like your cooking and being able to look after yourself and the dating advice for FoodGame?
Well, it was interesting. So I learned to cook back in 1989, I guess, and I really learned because of a girl. There was this cute Norwegian that I was just head over heels in love with, and so I just wanted to. I think I think cool. I'll start learning to cook, and so I started learning to cook, and I just found that I loved it and I had a knack for it, and putting that together to travel. Anytime I travel somewhere, I'm like, okay, what's all the local food? I want to have something that's local here that you can't get. Like if I'm going Memphis, okay, let's have Memphis barbecue. If you're in Texas, Texas barbecue. You want to go to I don't know, Ohio somewhere. Oh, they got that weird skyline chili stuff on spaghetti. I want to try it. Whatever it is, and I just love that. I get off on that. I'm a complete Food Network junkie, or at least I used to be. I haven't watched it in a long, long time. But my God, I just don't like all the cooking competition shows, but I love the travel food shows. So I'm just kind of like that nut who just digs it. So whenever I go to a con, I'm like, okay, let's talk food, people. Where am I? What are we gonna have? We're in Melbourne. Oh my God, what a great food town! Holy crap, that was good. Then to come up here to the Gold Coast.
I mean, the seafood's all right.
So I started culinary school so I can get a student visa so we can stay in Australia for a while.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, so I'm actually training to be an actual chef right now, and so it's a joy. And it's one of the things that I coach people. It's like, look, do what you love to do. It just makes you a better you. Ooh, that's a rhyming quote right there.
It is. That needs to go on the website, evidently.
Do what you love to do. It makes a better you. Okay.
Now let's stay on the topic of self-improvement for a little bit, because we're going to bring Evangelion into this a little bit, because creator Hideaki Anno, he's struggled with mental health over the years. He's mentioned it on a few occasions. Did the series have an impact on what you're doing now with your role, with the focus on people's self-confidence and defining your own direction, or was it something that more came out of your experiences of trying to define what you wanted out of life?
A little bit of both. I would say it came from my own search for self-improvement, which brought me my amazing wife and my two amazing sons, and helped us travel around the world and all of that. So it's been great. And she is a high performance coach. She's way better than me. She's phenomenal. And I've always loved that. If you have in your life, if you have a mission statement, if you don't have one, you should get one. And my mission statement has always been, I want to bring inspiration and laughter to millions. That's been my goal. And I feel that I'm able to do that in some ways, but it doesn't matter if the millions don't matter right now. It's the 10 in front of me, or the hundreds in front of me, or 1,000 in front of me. Whatever it is in front of me, that's what matters now. And over time, it will grow, and millions of people love Evangelion. So maybe that has helped. Maybe there's a moment in taking Shinji and like seeing the end. If you get the end, it's like, oh my God, he grew up. Everything's going to be okay. And that's the point. And I've had so many people come up to me over the years at conventions and say, your depiction of Shinji saved my life, literally. I was suicidal. I didn't know what to do, and I started watching Evangelion, and I saw how you made him. He was having the hard times, but he still went through it and made it through. And I was just like, that. There's something powerful here. There's something about Shinji that draws people in, and even though he's got his issues, sure, we all have issues, but like I said, courage. He moves through it, fights, and he fights for those he loves.
He does.
That's a key. And he loves his father too. And I think in the last one we kind of see a little bit more of that, but his father has his own issues, right? So everybody's got issues. We just don't go about fighting each other in big mechs, but it's still cool. I mean, hey, if we could, Thanksgiving would be awesome.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, all right, you and Jenny get up in there and you're going to battle it out and go.
Just don't step on the doghouse. We need to keep that safe.
That's it. Mind the pumpkins. It's one of those kind of things where people can relate to Shinji. So what I've done is in my talks, when I'm talking about relationships, I bring Shinji into it. I have a membership group, it's a light coaching group called the Reluctant Hero's Journey. And I use Shinji as a reluctant hero because he doesn't want to be a hero, but he is a hero. And it's about getting better. It's not about being the hero per se to everybody and everything. It's about being a hero to yourself. And that's the point that I think I like to make with Shinji is you just gotta do what you can do, and don't hurt yourself if you can keep from it. But you got to keep going, and sometimes you do have to say, you know what, I need help, and that's why your friends are there, etc. And I think he kind of gets that from Asuka and Misato, and he gets help from other people, and there's nothing wrong with that. So that's one of the things I use him kind of as a platform, as a springboard to help me talk about other issues when I go real deep into coaching stuff. But mainly it's the simple issues that all of us are going through, and just know you're not alone.
You've been doing your coaching for quite a while by the sounds of it now, especially with how passionate you are about it. Have you had any moments when you've been doing your coaching and it's kind of given you a moment of thought where you've just went, well, actually, I haven't considered that. And thanks to talking to these people, it's giving yourself something to consider that you've been able to impact or change in your life?
I take notes on everything. So when I'm doing something, that reminds me of something. I'll write that down, or I'll put that into one of my podcasts. That's that whole concept that I just came up with. I'm going to put that over here, and I'm going to utilize that in my own life. And when I'm talking to somebody else, I also say, where am I being this? Because perception is projection. If you're seeing something in somebody else, then you got it in you. And that's that point. It's like, oh man, I hate it when these people do that thing. Well, where in your life are you doing that thing? And you have to ask yourself honestly and see about that, because it's like there's an aggravation that is coming from me for something somebody else is doing. I'm like, how can I let that go? And then just look at it from a higher level and say, that's interesting that they're doing this and this and this and this. And it's like seeing the matrix. It's like getting up above it and seeing why these things are happening, rather than being down in it and going, oh my God, I can't take it. You float up and you look and you go, okay, now what's really going on here? Why am I reacting this way? Why am I so upset at this whatever? I just tripped and hit my elbow, and I'm flipping out and breaking glasses. What is that? When you figure it all out, and then you trip, hit your elbow, and you laugh about it. You go, oh, that was just silly. It's one of those things where our reactions to things are huge, and we can control that. And my wife, actually, she just did a TED Talk 2 days ago.
Oh, wow.
And it was about, she utilized a quote from Viktor Frankl, a Holocaust survivor who wrote Man's Search for Meaning. And it said, well, we may not be able to control what happens to us, but we can control how we feel about it. We can control what our reaction is. In between the reaction and I'm paraphrasing, but it's between what happens to us and our reaction is our brain, and nobody can take that away from us. How we view things, how we feel things, and that's where a lot of power lies. And I think, especially with the socials and all the stuff out there, we're allowing other people to quote unquote trigger us, and that puts you in a victim status. It's like, dude, you're in control of how you react about this stuff. Somebody calls you a name, you go, yeah, well, that's not really true, but have a good day. Rather than going, he called me a name. You see the difference is it's kind of bounce off of you. It's like, well, he's having a bad day.
Is the idea of, no one can control how you feel except you.
Exactly, 100%.
Now, we'll go back to the world of voice acting before we do wrap up. And I want to say, obviously, Shinji's become quite an iconic role for yourself, and many of us immediately will associate yourself with that character. But let's talk about some of the other characters you've portrayed. Are there any other roles that have kind of stayed with you over the years?
Oh yeah, so many of them. In anime, like Nadesico, Akito, I loved that one. That was so much fun because we were doing it at the same time, I think, or just after Evangelion, and it was kind of, Akito was the anti-Shinji, and it was more funny and crazy stuff. So we had some really fun times with that one. Where somebody was just talking to me about Spriggan and my little boy that I played, one of my favorite psychopaths, and they're like, oh, that was so great. I was like, that was really cool. I was like, I love that. And gosh, I mean, outside of that, outside of anime, like World of Warcraft, I did 8 characters in, what was it, the Burning Crusades and Lich King, because I love doing those characters. They were so much fun. And League of Legends, I was Wukong, the Monkey King, but I was also Colonel Kled. And Colonel Kled is my favorite character I've ever done. He's the Yordle, completely out of his mind, and just what a great character. I love Colonel Kled.
Who's talking? Hey, you, shut up! Lily-livered fungus sniffer!
Totally different from, Shinji. Colonel Kled. I mean, he's crazy. And, I really enjoyed those kind of things. But my real joy is original animation. So, anything that I've done in, for Nickelodeon, we did a series called Get Blake. And I was Mitch, Blake's right-hand guy. Robbie Damon was Blake, and it was so much fun. It was just so much fun to do. And I love original animation, so that's what if I had my way, that's all I would do, to be honest. I did Simpsons, Family Guy, all those kind of things. I love that. I absolutely love that, because you get to really create these amazing, wonderful, goofy-ass characters. So, yeah, because anime, you're really confined to what you got. And it's like, well, it's hard. It's the hardest voiceover work to do. And it pays the least, by the way. And a lot of people don't know that. But it takes a lot of skill to do it, because you have to act big in this parameter. You're flailing, you're on fire, but you can't move. Yeah.
So to wrap things up, we're going to have a little bit of fun. Now, as we mentioned, you don't generally watch the stuff you're in, so I'm not sure how well this is going to go. But I've got a few of Shinji's lines from the original series and the rebuild films. These are taken completely out of context, and I'd like you to try and remember or guess which other character Shinji was talking to. Now, I'm certainly no voice actor, so please excuse me while I butcher your lines. Let's start out with something that hopefully isn't too difficult, and it's from the original series, so going back a bit. Ice, snacks, and 50 gallons of beer. What kind of life does she lead?
Misato.
Yeah, hands down. Is it some kind of training for a guerrilla warfare or something?
I'm going to assume he's talking to Gendo.
He's talking about Kensuke Ida when he ran away.
Ah, okay.
Yeah.
I
had to try and find something a bit unusual, otherwise it'd be a bit too easy.
Yeah.
This one will probably jog your memory straight away. Damn it, don't you talk to me like that, you dumb rookie.
Oh, well, I'm going to say that's Asuka.
Yes, you're bang on the money. One of the first missions the Oscar and Shinji did together. Now, we'll go something a bit more recent. I thought you said this was a date. You're not the nice man I thought you were.
What? I have no idea.
Kaji in 2.22 when he takes him down to the watermelon patch.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, yeah.
All right, last one here. It's a bit of a curveball. In this whole city, there's no place familiar.
3? Was it in 3?
No, episode 2.
Episode 2. Oh, it was in the first series, like episode 2. But he's talking about Nerve, right? Or is he in bed again?
In bed again with unfamiliar ceilings.
That's the one. Okay, I remember those.
Look, Spike, thank you so much, mate. It's been fantastic talking with you, and I'm really looking forward to seeing you on the convention circuit again. And we'll put the links to your several books that you've got going and your podcast in the video below for those watching. Make sure you check it out, because as you can tell, Spike's a fantastic guy.
Why, thank you. Yeah, I'll give you all my links to all my stuff. So I hope everybody will come say hi.
Thanks so much, Spike, and we'll talk again hopefully soon when maybe Evangelion 5.0, the recap happens.
There you go.
A massive thank you to Spike Spencer for taking the time to have a chat for this video. You can find links to everything he's mentioned in the description below. I can highly recommend checking out his book, What Happens at the Con Stays at the Con. It's a great read and will give you a good laugh, that's for sure. Also, thank you to Shumi Shop for sponsoring this video. If you didn't watch our little promo earlier, you'll be missing out on that sweet 10% off promo code that Kawaii-Fi Aaron literally gave his arm for.
If you've enjoyed this video, consider hitting that subscribe button and joining the Kawaii-Fi community. We also have a fortnightly anime podcast called Kawaii-Fi Radio, so follow the links in the video description to find us in your podcasting app of choice. A big thank you to our Patreon members who are supporting the channel. If you'd like to support us and get access to some behind-the-scenes content and extras, such as me and Aaron trying to film that promo for Shumi, you can find the link for the Patreon below.
And with that, I'm Kyle, and until next time, watch some anime.